Welcome to the Just Do It podcast, hosted by Anne Duffy. Dental Entrepreneur Women is here to dive deep and share stories with the mission to inspire, highlight, empower, and connect all women in dentistry.
Hi, everyone. It is Anne Duffy, and here we are again for the Just Do It podcast. I have just a very special guest today. I'm so excited that she's with us and with me especially. Lori Bulloch, she's dental hygienist of 23 years, is also a certified yoga instructor and natural health educator. Lori founded Let's Breathe Yoga in 2020 and passionately pursues whole healing for herself and loves guiding people in their wellness journeys. Lori Bulloch, welcome.
Hello.
To our podcast today. Hello. I just love you because we do the coffee chats or the doing coffee on Wednesday mornings especially, and Lori will pop in and we're all just racing to our computers to get on the Zoom call, and we've got the kids are running around or out the door, or we just got out of bed. And then all of a sudden Lori comes on. What is the wording used? Would you like me to help you breathe, or what is that you like?
Lead you in a breath exercise, or I'm sure I use different wording, but I love to lead breath exercises and centering and all of those things that we need just to come back to center sometimes.
Oh, I just love it. And I don't know whoever is listening today, where you are as you're listening to this, if you're walking, if you're racing, if you're in your car, but let's take a breath with Lori. So Lori, would you lead us in a breath before we start this podcast today?
Absolutely. So I like to start with my hands on my heart, either one over the other or next to each other in prayer. So wherever you're comfortable, let your shoulders roll down and back, and notice your jaw, maybe soften shoulders, close your eyes, maybe just noticing your heartbeat and your breath. Two super basic, beautiful things that we have with us all the time. And for me, when I close my eyes, I find this space of stillness and breath. So just letting that breath flow in and out, nose or mouth, whatever's the most clear, slow, deep. Maybe an exhale to release anything you don't need today. And inhaling anything you do need, knowing that the power is within each of us to find love, peace, hope. And with whatever it is you did find, hands at heart center, the light within me honors the light within you. Namaste.
Oh, Lori, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. Can everybody hear my voice is just so much calmer? Lori knows I was running to the Zoom for this podcast today, and this just really helps, Lori. And you do it so eloquently, so naturally. You've been doing yoga for how long now?
So I started yoga out of desperation and depression and anxiety when my second son of 3 sons was a baby. I needed something for me, and I found a flyer, don't remember where it was posted, that said free yoga class at such and such place. And I told my husband, I have to have Tuesday night off. You need to be home from work. I'm going to yoga. And I came home a different person. Honestly, after an hour with my toes on that yoga mat, I was like, oh, this is where I belong. This is me. I felt like I found me, not mom me and not wife me or busy me, but Lori me on that mat. And I have been hooked ever since. So he's just turned 20. That baby just turned 20. So a 20-year anniversary probably of yoga for me. Yes. It's been an amazing journey.
Oh my goodness, Lori. That is so beautiful because I just discovered yoga 2 years ago. When you came into my life, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I actually didn't have any idea that you've been doing yoga for that long and instructing.
Instructing for 2.5 years, but yoga for 20. Yes.
Okay. Well, no wonder you're such a natural and you exude yogiism. I don't know if that's the word, but I actually feel like I'm a yogi now too, because, I was a pure barist and I love that. And then I was starting to kind of dread it in a sense. And then COVID came and I backed out. I did it kind of online, but it just wasn't the same. And then I started yoga during COVID, and I am so hooked on yoga.
Yeah.
forward to it every time I go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whenever I'm in town. I just absolutely love it. And I will say my body has totally changed. I know I probably was in pretty decent shape because of bar, but I really have noticed it's so low impact. But for
Yes.
some reason, it really works. I highly recommend looking for a change in how your clothes fit and just the piece of it. And just, the other thing I loved about it, and I can see why you say, I found my thing. You can give yourself permission to just lay on the mat for 5 minutes after you're finished. And it's like, who has 5 minutes? But
Right.
when that yoga zen, it's like,
I'm taking this Shavasana. Yes,
oh,
exactly.
Shavasana. I just love it. I know there's still a lot of the definitions, or I guess the words that you use when you're instructing yoga. I still have no idea. I'm looking around. I know down dog, but
there you go. There you go.
And I just love it.
Yeah.
So you've been doing it for a long time. Well, that shows. And for those of you that are watching our YouTube, you're in your yoga studio, which is gorgeous.
Yes, let me point my camera to the studio. So when that curtain closes, it's no longer my dining room back there. It's the studio. I should have closed the curtain, but this is my yoga studio in New England. My commute is very short. I love it. I can eat breakfast, open the curtain, close the curtain, and teach yoga. It's fantastic.
And you have a fireplace in there?
We do, yes.
So how yummy is that? People kind of wonder, like, do I need to rent a spot? But if you have creativity, you can put it in your home and it's your happy place where you love to be. It is. Office. And you're using the space for something good. And I love that you're teaching your friends that live around the block, so to speak, or not too far. Because one of the things we say, colleagues first, then your friends, and then you become sisters. And it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So I teach hybrid. So a lot of times I'll have 2 or 3 students here, and then we turn on the camera from this angle and they can see me and the others. And it feels like we're together. It's really cool.
That is really cool. And I did take a hybrid from you a couple of weeks ago, and it was exactly what I needed. I need to do more of those.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I love it.
The door is always open.
Yeah, I mean, it really works. And it's also, I think there's something about, and that's what DEW's about, is it's community.
Yeah, we talk at the first, we talk a little bit after, and over time, I just try to build that connection so that we're all excited to see each other and look forward to it. Yeah, it's fun.
That is beautiful, because I think yoga is mind, body, spirit, which bar was never really, I would never say it was mind, body, spirit. It didn't feel like it. Yoga really does. It's something special. One of the things that we wanted to talk about today, we base DEW, Dental Entrepreneur Woman, on strengths. And apparently you really like your top 5 strengths. And I could almost guess, but I don't want to do that. What are your top 5 strengths, Lori? And how have you seen them play out in your work?
Thank you for asking, because yes, I took a workshop and have these, they were on my wall for the longest time. So I'll just refer to the things that stood out to me most on my top 5 strengths. I don't remember what order, but communication. I'm thrilled when someone makes an effort to befriend me. People desire to spend time with me because of my engaging style of communication. People see a better version of themselves by communicating with me. And I provide opportunities for people to create, study, reflect, and tell their own stories. So that's a fun one. Responsibility. I'm happier when I'm my true self. I can be candid about my limitations, and I'm comfortable admitting that I need to do some things better or more completely. That's been really liberating. I used to try to be or appear perfect, and it was so fun when I finally realized I can show up how I am, and it's so much better. Then empathy. I'm perceptive about others' thoughts, emotions, and needs. I see what makes people special. I sense when others can benefit from my support, kind words, or thoughtful deeds, and I have an ability to lift. Connectedness. I bring people together, help them discover reasons to cooperate and support. I initiate, nurture, and sustain links between individuals, aka teams. And the last one is positivity. I'm interested in helping people find common ground. I can socialize with anyone. I am energized by conversation. There you have it, my 5.
Those are beautiful. And they're actually beautiful for a yoga instructor and dental hygienist, because we've asked you at the spur of the moment, which we just did today, oh, let's do a breath. I'm like, well, let's wait till we get started. We'll do that now. You have no problem communicating that in a very lovely, calm, peaceful, graceful way without any trepidation. It just flows for you. So I love that you have communication. I'm going to tell you what the balcony of that is. Storyteller, great presence, easy to talk with, energizing, captivating, and charismatic. That is the balcony of communication, which I love. What was your second one? Let's go through this. I want to give you a couple of them.
So let's see. I think I said responsibility next.
Okay, so responsibility is one of those ones. And it's funny, Deb Carrier, it's not her number one. And she is the oldest of 4 daughters. And she just was disappointed that she was, and everyone that has responsibility wants to get rid of it because they feel like so much is on my shoulders. But it's really awesome. You're a true leader when you have responsibility in your top 5 because people want to follow somebody that they know they can count on, which I think is just beautiful. We all really in our own minds, especially if you're a dude, you want to be a leader. You want to be having those characteristics. So the responsibility balcony, committed, accountable, independent, ethical, trusted, and conscientious. That is Lori Bulloch. You're living those strengths. So keep going.
Oh, thank you. Okay, we had empathy.
Of course, as a yoga instructor, I think you have that calm demeanor. I see this play out on the Arduing Coffee with people that are on there. I feel like you really see what is behind the curtain, which is a beautiful thing because the joke is that my empathy is not that high. It's like snap out of it. Snap out of it. Like, your empathy is just so beautiful. It creates trust. It brings healing, knows just what to do or say, emotionally intelligent, and an understanding soul.
Oh, those are awesome.
I believe that these talents that are in your top 5 were given to you in the womb. And here sounds something that is actually using these beautifully. Okay, so what's your next one?
So connectedness.
Oh, I love that one. Again, listen to this. Spiritual, doesn't sweat the small stuff, strong faith, considers consequences, help others see purpose.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Agreed.
Another one. So this is like really, I'm getting goosebumps just knowing you. For those of you that, our little secret, before we started, I'd been rushing around and Lori says, let's say a little prayer before we get started. And this most beautiful prayer, just so touching and just meant so much to me. And I feel like, again, if you're listening to this is going to be a special podcast because it's not just Lori and me. We've got some other people upstairs that are watching over us. And that's so amazing. What was your last one?
The last, positivity.
Oh, I love this one. I have positivity.
I think you do have it. Yes, you do.
Yeah. And my kids will say, my daughter told me one time about, Mom, you can have toxic positivity. I'm like, oh, really? So, thank you, honey. Thank you for telling me that. And I watch those. But the good side, the balcony, is enthusiastic, lighthearted, energetic, generous with praise, optimistic, funny, and uplifting.
That's a good one.
I love that. I like that I have a talent of being funny because I think I'm hysterical. I sometimes will say something, nobody gets it, but I'm laughing very hard. Hey, too bad. It's my God-given talent. So,
There you go.
But doesn't that make you just, fall in love with your yoga instructing when you actually hear those words out loud?
Yeah.
And also, this is so true.
Yes. And the way that, since you brought up God, I'm just going to say, I believe strongly that God guides me for sure. And so I have felt him guiding me from that opportunity to certify as an instructor. During the pandemic, my office was closed for 3 months. My friend who's a teacher trainer called and said, if I can be finished in 3 months, Yoga Alliance will let me certify a group of yoga teachers. And I was like, So we started right away, got finished right before my office opened, and I started a business with my husband's help. And I think the opportunities and experiences I've had since then have just expanded me, my experience, my health, my wellness, my ability to share that with others in such a neat way that I've developed as a 3-part wellness program. So it's just this path that I'm on that I have learned so much so that now I'm able to be 1 or 2 steps ahead. I think, as you said in a DeW chat recently, as long as we're 1 or 2 steps ahead of somebody, they can learn from us. I don't have it all figured out. I don't have all the answers, but I've learned so much and had felt experiences with so many wellness principles that I now can share that in ways that bless other people. So I've certified as a natural health educator last September. That was a 1-year program with one of my mentors. She's incredible. So her program is called Whole Healing, and we learn emotional support tools and nutrition to help the whole person to feel better, to be better. So I've been able to just develop this new phase of Let's Breathe Yoga, where I offer both yoga classes and the 3-phase wellness program. And I just hosted my first wellness experience 2 weeks ago. So fun. So we used our Airbnb room, and I brought in someone that I'd been working with for about 12 weeks, and she's grown and learned so much. She came and stayed in our home for a couple of days, and we just did all the things together, made all the food we've been talking about, did the yoga together in the same space, connected with nature out in my woods, just in a really unique way, and incorporated mind, body, spirit things that we had been talking about in a way that she went home with new routines. Like, okay, in the morning, I'm going to do this and this and this, because she loved what I do in the morning, or different things like that. So I just am having so much fun with, just as I am lifted by others, mentors and people like you and all the people that have lifted me up, and then I can lift others in other ways. It's just, I think it's how it's supposed to be. We're just meant to lift each other up.
It sounds like you've hit your calling, right? I mean, that's beautiful. You know what I love about that too, Lori, is I've noticed when I've stayed with my kids, like I would go to Chicago and stay with Joe and Melissa, they have a certain routine. They're very healthy, minded.
Yeah.
I'll come home and I will put some of those ideas in place.
Right.
How brilliant is that for you to bring people to your house, your Airbnb, and they actually live it with you? That is so much easier than somebody telling you what to do. It's brilliant. I forgot that you had an Airbnb. Did they have to use your kitchen, or how does that work?
We have 3 sons, like I mentioned. One's at college, one is on a church service mission, and one's just about to graduate and just got accepted to college, which makes me feel like I'm going to be an empty nester soon. But when the second one moved away, we took his bedroom and updated it. It's now the prettiest room in our home, and we rent that out on Airbnb. So maybe a third of the time somebody's up there, but they just have a kind of a separate entrance. They can go up and down. Most people don't need a kitchen if they're just here for short. So it's worked out well for us. But with this experience, they, are integrated into our home and just living with us for a couple of days. So it's super fun.
That's just so cool. It's also very giving of your whole family. It's just a lot about who you are, because hospitality is actually a calling, honestly. And you've opened your door and you're saying, come in, and just make it easy for people to be able to go visit or do what they wanted to do in your area. So I just love that. So you're having individuals work. Have you ever thought about doing a retreat like that, wellness program? Like, could you take all your family members and have them move out for a weekend or something, and then use everything in your house?
I have done that. I did that last September. I hosted my first retreat. We called it Friends in the Fall. We were here, I think it was a Thursday night, all day Friday, Saturday. I taught a digestive health workshop, because that's part of what I focused on in my natural health educator certification. So I taught that. And then the whole time we were eating and doing things that worked with the digestive health principles. Hands-on herb workshops, some mental health workshops from a friend who does that. And what did we do? Nature walks with journaling, and we had a dance party in the studio, cranked up the music one night, turned on my twinkle lights, and just shook our booties for a while. I don't know. It was just fun. So yes, I would love to do more of those.
That's so cool. That's like what we had Laura Klotz on for a podcast, and she's taking laughing yoga. That's a whole nother thing that I didn't know about, but that thing works as well.
Yes, I've taken a class. It is hilarious, actually.
You just can't stop laughing. It's just so good for the soul. But just all of this knowing yourself and looking inside instead of outside is so powerful. I mean, if we wait no one should wait until they're so distraught or rolled up in a ball in a closet and start working on this. Those signs.
There's so much prevention that we can do, just like in dental hygiene. Like you say, don't wait until you're having a panic attack, which I've had, but let's try to have routines that we prevent panic attacks or prevent major depressive episodes, things like that. So definitely.
What do you do? What are some of your routines that help take care of you while you're taking care of your patients and taking care of all those you're instructing? What does Lori do?
Okay, so my morning routine is pretty consistent. I set my alarm an hour before my first obligation, and I spend that time It's a little different every day because I really listen before I do, but I have a handful of things that I do just in a different order in different ways. So I always start on my knees with a prayer first before I grab my phone. I talk to my maker. And then if I'm kind of hungry, I start with fruit or nuts and water. If I'm not hungry yet, I skip that one. I do exercise, whether it's some stretching, breathing, my weights. Katrina Klein did a little personal workout for me. So I'll sometimes do weights at home and also nature walks or kind of a vigorous walk, depending on my energy level. And then when I'm actually hungry, I come and have a grain, a whole grain or something that way that's a little more substantial. And when I'm eating, I always have my journal and my book of scriptures that I read. So those sit in front of me anytime I sit down for breakfast, which is every day. So that's my 1 hour. Those things are always incorporated. And after that, I feel like I can show up for my patients, for my family, for my students, anybody, because I feel strong, centered, supported, healthy, nourished body, mind, and spirit. So I start with that. And on days that I work, before I get out of my car to go into the office, I say a quick prayer. Please help me to be a good hygienist, help my heart to be open. And as I'm walking in the door, I have this little tradition where as I'm opening the handle, I just think, I'm just so excited to be here, whether I am or not. So sometimes I'm faking it, but I just, as I'm opening, I'm excited to be here. And then as I'm putting on my socks, I imagine I'm pulling on some like personal PPE. So just visualizing this full body suit that comes up and over me and kind of zips up and it's cozy and safe. And that protects me energetically while I work. So especially if there's an emotional patient or negative or anxious or anything like that, I just feel like I'm protected. They can do whatever they need to do or say, but I've got my little cozy suit on. So at the end of the day, I unzip it like this in my mind, or if I'm alone, I pretend I'm unzipping and I roll down and shake it off so it falls off my arms, and I pretend to tie it up in a bag, toss it in the dumpster on my way to my car. And then I'm just me again, like going back to my family, just me, not all the energetic aerosols that might have happened during the day. So that's part of the routine that helps me to just come home me instead of covered in other people's stuff, if that makes sense.
Oh gosh, that makes, where were you my 45 years of practicing? My husband would have said, thank you, Lori, for helping me and not get in the door.
Toss it in the dumpster.
He would brace himself, ran for 15 minutes, and I'm done. So instead of doing that, I just toss it in there.
Toss it. Yeah. You've already documented it. You've done your due diligence. You've locked the door. Just toss it. Like, you don't need that anymore. But I've just developed that after 22 or 3, just in the last year or so. So 2 decades into my career, I figured out, why don't I do something to just like protect myself? Because there's a literal energetic exchange between you and your patient. And a lot of times that's positive and you're chatty and it's good and they're not in pain. So they're comfortable, you're comfortable. But in those cases where that's not the situation, you really want to be protected.
My gosh, there's some good takeaways here, everybody, that you're listening. I'm going to start zipping up. I'm not practicing clinical anymore, but I think there's some certain circumstances where I will zip up and protect myself.
And then unzip, toss,
zip,
be done.
Toss, and just be back to the goodness and what we know we are.
Yeah, your best self.
My best self. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I thank you so much, Lori, for giving us a breath, giving us a prayer, giving us a way to start our day to be our best self, because then we can be that best self for others. And how does anybody get in touch with you? Because I know there's some women, and I mean, would you work with guys also?
Sure. Yep. I see everyone as an equal member of society, my brothers, my sisters, my friends. So I'm happy to work with anyone who feels like I can support them. My website is letsbreatheyoga.com. And on there is quite a bit of information about the wellness program, as well as how to pay for a yoga class. So right now I'm teaching 4 times a month live. And I also have a pack of, I think it's a collection of 20 45-minute classes that are recorded that people can purchase anyway. So yeah, they can reach out to me about coming to a live class or purchasing a package of videos to do on their own. I also have a YouTube channel called One Wholehearted Hygienist. People can find me there. I've got some shorter yoga. So, just free 10 to 15 minute little morning stretches, evening release, anytime yoga, and There's a lunch break stretch on there too. Anyway, just one wholehearted hygienist. And I'm always open to requests. Like, I like to know what people want or need. Definitely reach out. My email, breathewithlori@gmail.com. And I'm happy to support any way I can.
Oh, I love it. And we'll have all that in the show notes. And the cool thing about that, I love the lunch break thing. And you've talked to the gals from the mentor, right? Because I mean, they're working with all these offices too. I mean, just to have something like that, a quick thing for the lunch break, it'd be so cool to offer the team members. Okay.
Yes.
How long is that, by the way?
The one on YouTube is like 3 minutes. I basically say, okay, after you've eaten and checked your phone and looked at the magazine, you have a choice. Are you going to stay there or are you going to stretch and move? And then I show a few series of stretches that I do. And then I say, and while you're at it, since you're up, head outside and go for a walk. Kind of just a little motivation to move on our lunch break because it feels so good.
Because that's what we need to do is keep moving, right? Well, Laura, you're just an absolute delight. And I love you being a DeW because you've helped so many of us in our community. And I'm here to champion you on to helping others around the world. And most importantly, for everybody here that's listening to us, keep doing you. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Just Do It podcast, hosted by Anne Duffy. To learn more about dental entrepreneur women, to share your story, or to join the movement, please visit our website, dew.life. That is DEW.life. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app to make sure you don't miss an episode. And in the meantime, keep doing you.